Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this Thursday sharing of Harmonize2Energize. My name is Terry Matthews. I've been sharing the teachings of Mary Burmeister and more recently any modality that has an overlapping connection with the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU. So for those of you that are completely brand new or watching the replay and are still completely brand new, JIN SHIN JYUTSU is an art of harmonizing the life energy as it moves through energy pathways in our body. And we can control the way that energy moves through our body with what we call in JIN SHIN JYUTSU safety energy locks and what acupuncturists would call points. So it's part of the Asian medicine modalities, Asian medical theory. And in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, we have 26 safety energy locks, which are the size of the diameter of your palm, unique to you. Oh, here we go again. Wave, everybody. And we place them on these energy locks. There's 26 left and right of the spine, 3 in the arms and hand. We can place the palms of our hands on them, the back of our hands, thumbs, fingers. By doing that, we're going to allow that energy to move through the pathways more congruently. Because often in our life, in our lifestyle, our thoughts, words, and deeds can create resistance to natural flow. So Mary Burmeister brought this art to the West back in the 70s, 1970s, after learning it from her teacher, Sensei Jiro Murai. And it's been studied and practiced now for over 50 years throughout the world. And the beauty of it for me is it's very practical in terms of the self-help value. I don't know many other modalities that have that amount of practices that you can do by yourself. Of course, you can receive JIN SHIN JYUTSU from a practitioner, and that's often what people experience as a generally more powerful experience. However, Jiro Murai began the process of understanding JIN SHIN JYUTSU by self-help, literally by holding his fingers and thumbs and experimenting himself when he was seriously ill. So without self-help, you really don't have a complete picture of the art. So I hope that is a helpful introduction. I'm very happy and very privileged today to have a special guest who some of you have met before, but maybe some of you haven't. Jenny Swiecicki, sorry there, Jenny, I got distracted. Zoom is putting all kinds of little messages to me, which I've never seen before. And it's a particular pleasure because when Jenny's joined us before, to me, she's put across a unique connection to nature, the natural world. And so it seemed to me like a good idea at the spring equinox to bring back Jenny and ask her to, well, join with me, but you know, you never know. I might just kind of quieten down and let Jenny do all the talking. Welcome, Jenny. Welcome.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit quiet. I wish I could control it. So, Jenny,
I'll just speak up.
yeah, just
I'll talk loudly.
yeah. So, Jenny, I invite you after I've done my introduction to introduce us to spring equinox energy, etc., etc., etc. Off you go.
All right. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you, Terry, for having me. This is one of my favorite times a year. Well, also, my birthday was last week, so I have personal reasons. However, I feel like both the spring and autumn equinox, as well as the winter and summer solstice, are just really important marking points throughout the year. And so spring equinox this year, as Terry said, it happened on the 19th. It often falls between March 19 and March 20th. And in astronomy, the spring equinox is known, or the vernal equinox is known as the start of spring. It's also a time of rebirth, renewal, new life. You know, in the Christian calendar, Easter often falls around the equinox. I believe it's also the Persian New Year is around this time. So it's really another time of new beginnings. And then according to climate scientists, they go more by the weather patterns. So if you're talking to a climate scientist, they would say March 1st is the beginning of spring. And of course, with global warming, with the patterns shifting, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens over time. But I think all the seasons are shifting. So, but when Terry invited me and we were looking at dates, I thought, okay, this is perfect. It's spring equinox, and it's really an important transition between winter, which winter is fourth depth. We have kidney and bladder, and winter is really a time to go in to take good care of ourselves. Terry, what you were just saying about, you know, JIN SHIN JYUTSU, really it is about self-care. I mean, Jiro harmonized himself from a terminal illness simply with finger mudras, fasting and going into the breath. We can receive sessions, which, you know, both are wonderful. I receive sessions from others, and I also am an avid self-help practitioner. And to me, that's really the jewel of JIN SHIN JYUTSU is the self-help component, because it's truly a pathway to help yourself to expand your awareness and understanding of yourself, of your own heart, your mind and body, and seeing the relationship between those three. And so, you know, often we're taught with Western medicine and Western culture, when something's wrong, we go to the doctor, they give us a pill or a certain treatment plan. And with this, we really get to take our health back into our own hands and have understanding that we are all souls evolving. So it's not just stuff happening to us randomly.
Right.
Nothing is random. So welcome everybody. Before I go on too much more on a tangent, I'd like to begin with a self-help. And since again, we're moving right now from fourth depth, which was winter, into third depth, which is spring. Let's go ahead and just begin by holding the left index finger. So that is the finger, index finger, pointer finger, that harmonizes the fourth depth, kidney, bladder. And just in case you didn't take extra good care of yourself this winter, we'll spend some time with those index fingers now. And here, as I said, it's still wintry. We're in a transition. So go ahead, holding your left index finger gently and lovingly. Just begin to bring awareness into your body. And one way that can be helpful to bring awareness in is to simply notice sensations in your body, whatever it is you're experiencing, without judging or labeling, just dropping in and noticing. And feel into the places where your body makes contact with the ground, the seat, the bed beneath you, whether you're sitting or lying. Just become aware of gravity, the way you're being held here. And if you like, you can follow the expansion and contraction of your belly as breath comes in and out without forcing or trying to, just noticing the movement of your breath through your belly. And then bringing awareness into that left index finger, listening there for a pulse. That's your own unique pulse. And again, your index finger harmonizes the kidney and bladder channels. And that's the season of winter, which we're coming out of. Winter is about hibernation, it's about going in, slowing down. Really powerful for the adrenals and just overall replenishing of our nervous systems, our immune systems. So a few more breaths here. And then go ahead and move to hold your left middle finger. So since we're moving into spring now, middle finger harmonizes the third depth, which is springtime. It's our liver gallbladder channels. And continuing to follow the simple rhythm of exhale and inhale. And as you exhale, you can visualize exhaling head to toes down the front of your body. And as you inhale, focus on receiving that inspiration through the soles of your feet, up your back. So you're literally enveloped in this cocoon of breath and energy. And holding this middle finger helps us to be prepared for spring. It's this season of renewal, of new life. Also helps with smooth, fluid movement in our bodies, in our hearts, and our minds. So we have clear thinking. The ability to express our emotions without holding it in or exploding outward, just finding that grace and expressing emotions. And then, of course, the smooth fluid movement in our bodies and the joints and hips, liver and gallbladder are in charge of that. And again, just holding awareness in your left middle finger. Remembering each finger harmonizes 14,400 functions in the body. So there's a lot to be grateful for about this practice. And noticing as you continue to hold, tensions melting. Notice the quality of thoughts that are happening in your mind right now. And then let's go ahead. We'll hold, we're going to bring the left fingertips to the right 22, just under the collarbone. And then right fingertips to the right 14, the base of the rib cage on the front of the body. So this is the first step of our lung flow. And lung function energy corresponds with Aries. So when we were at the equinox on Tuesday night, I believe, the sun moved into Aries. So we moved into lung energy. So lung is right at the turning point from winter into spring. And I'll be sharing more of my thoughts and reflections on this during our time together today, but I feel like it's always good to have this somatic experience. And whenever I'm holding this first step of lung, I literally imagine that I'm cradling that lung between the two hands. So you can imagine hugging or cradling your lung. You may feel your breath begin to slow down and deepen. Go ahead and listen to the pulses or whatever sensation you're feeling beneath your hands and fingertips in both of these safety energy locks, which I sometimes refer to the safety energy locks just as vibrational centers. They're hubs on our body. They're these energetic hubs. And when we, as Terry said, when we simply hold and listen, they begin to tell us their stories. The tension begins to melt away. And so it's really such a rich and beautiful practice. And a few more exhales and inhales here. Cradling your lung, inviting in this harmonized Aries energy. Aries says, I am. Inviting yourself with your next exhale to release and let go of any tension, sadness, anything that's burdening your lungs. And then as you inhale, inviting in that vitality of the I am, that self-confidence, the joy. And just saying thank you to your body, to your lung function energy, to all the depths that live within you. And then we can come back to our Zoom room and we'll be doing more hands-on. I like to do a lot of hands-on, so there'll be more. Terry, did you want to share anything about, we had talked about, you were going to talk about the meaning, or, I mean, you don't have to. I'm just giving you the
Oh, no,
opportunity.
not at all.
Okay. Okay.
That's, that's fine. That was a really clear, beautiful way of bringing us into the lung function energy via areas. I'd actually just been pondering before I came on. Well, yeah, we've come from winter into spring. And it's, if you want to talk in terms of astrology, and I'm no expert, the signs, the water signs represent to a degree the endings of something. And Pisces, in terms of the end of the cycle of the cosmos, or the way the sun moves through all the astrological signs on the end of the cosmos, although you could say that through the idea of exploding stars. In Pisces, which represents also the liver, the third depth, which Jenny mentioned, there is an ending to a cycle before we begin anew. In a way, it's a 9 energy, which interestingly is second depth, and we've moved into that with Aries in the lung. Fire has now re-emerged. There are other fire signs in astrology. It's re-emerged with that breath of life emerging from the primal breath of life, the big breath of life, the sixth depth, via the third depth. So we've made a really powerful transition from almost, from the hibernation to the activation. And I'll just say one more thing before I quickly pass the baton to Jenny. It's interesting to me how here we are in the Northern Hemisphere, spring equinox, equal light and dark. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, lung initiating relationship to the organ function energy, the breath of life, beginning, yet in the Southern Hemisphere, they will be experiencing the fall, which is the opposite to Aries, Libra, Scorpio, and seasonally, second depth is related to the fall. So somehow we have this whole globe is balancing north and south, the different qualities of second depth, spring and fall, because at fall, it's really like the energy of perhaps more the large intestine, which is the letting go. But with the breath, we're letting go as well, yeah, on the exhale. I kind of find that interesting. So in the Southern Hemisphere, people may be experiencing more of a sense of needing to let go because the energy is more of the fall. And yet we're in Aries, coexistence of opposites. Back to you.
I was thinking about that exact same thing, Terry. I mean, it's interesting, right? I was, just thinking about this balance and the opposite of Aries being
Yeah.
Libra. And
Yeah.
there's also so Aries is a fire sign, yet it's in second depth, which is air. And then Bladder is a water sign, but it's Bladder's in fourth depth, but Libra's an air sign. So we have air in two ways, and then water and fire. And one of the themes of balance that we learn about in JIN SHIN JYUTSU is the balance of fire and water. I mean, and we could look at that on planet Earth as well. I mean, a lot of that's playing out with the climate crisis. but within our own bodies as well. It's in textbook, page 2. Mary says the left hand controls heart, which is fire. The right hand controls kidney, which is water. And this is, in a way, it's our left and right supervisors, the yin and the yang. So yes, it's fascinating. And am I able to share my screen?
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. Can you all see this
Yeah.
picture? Okay, so this, I pulled up this, is just an image of what is actually happening during the equinox. So normally throughout the year, when the Earth is revolving around the sun, it's tilted one way or another. So there's, shorter days, longer nights, and vice versa. At the time of the equinoxes, it's not tilted. So they say it's relatively equal day and night. It's usually off by, a few minutes one way or the other. But I find it fascinating. So it's literally this time of perfect balance before we then start moving. Right now, we're going here in the northern hemisphere, moving towards the longer days until we get to the solstice. So again, I find that images really help to inspire our minds, our souls. It goes sometimes beyond our linear thinking, and we can get to the heart of it. And here was just another nice depiction, right? We have the equal day and night. And we can go even further back to a simple yin yang symbol. So that this equinox time really teaches us about balance as well as new beginnings. So I'm going to stop share for a minute here.
That's a beautiful image of the yin yang.
Isn't that, yeah, the yin yang? I know. I love finding images online.
Well, it's, the sepia
Yeah,
somehow
right.
it
Yes.
kind of gave me that feeling of the ancientness of that understanding.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
very earthy as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
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 So I wanted to first just talk a little bit about this general theme of balance. So we talk about JIN SHIN JYUTSU as being a harmonizing art. And really what that is balance. We could say it's a balancing art of wellness or self-care, or harmonizing art. We can work with others, with our loved ones, with animals. So really it's all about balance. And just a few thoughts that come to me in terms of the foundation of JIN SHIN JYUTSU is we know about our main central. So when a soul becomes incarnate here, literally we are this spark of the primordial fire from the stars, from the cosmos. And when we choose to become incarnate, this energy begins this cycle down the front, up the back, that spark. And we study this in the depths. We go from the 9th depth, no thingness, to the 8th depth, the dot, to the 7th depth, infinite light. And we are each a spark of that light, which begins this simple rhythm of down the front, up the back, becomes our main central vertical universal harmonizing energy. It's the primordial fire. It's our connection with the divine. And at safety energy lock 1, the inside of the knees, safety energy lock 1 is our prime mover. That energy of the main central continues. I like to say it continues. It doesn't divide. It continues into the supervisory flow, the left and the right supervisors. And each of those respectively govern, take care of the left and right side of the body. So when we're thinking about balance, the main central and left and right supervisor have a big, they play a big role in balance, right? And again, left and right supervisor, we could say yin and yang, the day and the night, the logical mind and the intuition. There's a lot of, duality, all these ways that duality play out. And in harmony, there's a balance in the relationship between the supervisors and the main central with one another. If we get all tilted to one side, right? If I'm the right side, for instance, is our intuition. It's the feminine, the receptive. So if I'm just all tilted that way, there's a good chance my life is going to be out of balance in some form or another. So this is just something I was thinking about, the relationship, right, with main central and left and right supervisors. And then we also have, and so that's our Trinity, that's the universal Trinity. And we also have another Trinity in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, which is our bust line, our waistline, and then the hip line. So bust line we have on the front our 13s, waistline our 14s, and hip line 15s, just on the front torso. And this is spirit, mind, and body. And so these are some of the thoughts that were coming to me, because this is another very important piece to consider in terms of balance. If I'm just completely, driven by what I'm doing physically. I just had a new client who was saying this, like he literally pushed himself the first 40 years of his life, just pushed his physical body to all the limits until boom, things fell out of balance. His body started talking to him, and he said, I know I might be dead if this hadn't happened, because I was not taking care of the other aspects. Right. Or some of us get very, very intellectual and we're just wrapped up in our minds, but we're not really paying attention to the body. Or, someone like a Pisces like me might get swept up in all the emotions. So this is another area where it's really important to find balance. And thankfully, JIN SHIN JYUTSU offers us lots of tools for doing so. So I wanted to give you that sort of background. I mean, I could go on, and I'm sure you could, Terry, as well, about ideas about balance. There's different safety energy locks for balance. I mean, and this is so much fun. Like, I just love brainstorming and thinking about JIN SHIN JYUTSU. And for today, I wanted to weave us back to Aries, since, again, this is where we are. We're in Aries, which is lung function energy. And Jiro Murai, when he passed these teachings down to Mary, said, the breath, go into the breath. That's the primary harmonizer. And then the fingers and toes. And so what is Aries? Aries is lung function energy. It is the breath. It's lung is the first to manifest, also in the order of creation. As Terry was talking about that bridge, we bridge from 6th depth source energy through the 3rd depth into lung function energy. And literally, when babies are born, what do? Right away? They cry, they exercise their lungs. They're here saying, I am, and they begin to breathe. And so we can always come back to the breath, to the lung channel, and lots of helpers. And so really, I also have been thinking about what are ways that I can come back to balance through the breath, through my lung function energy. So, oops. Oh, I'm going to put it back on share. I just lost you all for a minute. All right. Do you see the lung now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little... I made this, I put the blue up top, right? Because we were in 4th depth winter and we're moving into 3rd depth spring. And then lung channel lives within the 2nd depth, which is the color white. So lung function energy is the 2nd depth ascending channel. Every depth has an ascending and descending organ channel. Lung starts in the chest. Well, it starts here in the solar plexus. I want you all to trace this on yourself. Actually, it feels good. So we'll start on the left. Just go ahead, put your right hand on your solar plexus, and then swirl through what seems like your left lung. This is the pathway of lung. It goes here, and then it goes under the collarbone, into the armpit, up the inside of the arm through the 19, And then it comes up to the wrist, a couple inches below the wrist, where it divides into two parts. One goes up through the thumb, circulates, and the other one goes up into the index finger to the side of that fingernail. So then you can just sort of do it quickly. It can feel good to trace the pathways. We're energizing our lung function energy. And then go ahead and start on the other side, starting in solar plexus, swirl around in your right lung, underneath your collarbone into the armpit, up through the inside of the arm, through the 19 at the wrist. One part goes up into the thumb, the other goes up into the index finger, stops at the side of the nail. So that's the pathway of the lung channel. That's Aries that says, I am. I am that I am. I am breath. I am vitality. I am confident. And of course, lung lives within the second depth, which is the deep skin layer of the body. And this includes the connective tissue, the fascia. And there's been so much new and exciting research these days about the fascia, about the memory we hold there, about the communication that goes on in these web-like systems within us. And so this depth is very powerful. And also, there are more safety energy locks that live in second depth than any of the other depths. Safety energy locks 5 through 15. So it includes a lot. Second depth is about the harmonious relationship between the spirit, the mind, and the body. And it's about relationships in general, connection, joyful connection. When our second depths are in harmony, we have joyful connections in our lives, beginning with our connection to source, to spirit, whatever that is for you, or a connection just to yourself, to your own soul. A connection, it could be to nature, wherever you find that place of, something greater than yourself. And then connections to our loved ones, our families, our friends, our communities. When second depth is out of harmony, there's grief, there's sadness, there's holding on, the inability to breathe. And the partner of lung is large intestine. And when large intestine is Taurus, Taurus loves to hold on. Taurus says, I have. Lung says, I am. And so perhaps these two can, they can teach each other about the balance. And there are, so one thing I want to say in terms of safety energy locks for harmonizing lung channel and working with balance is, I always think about safety energy lock 1 on the inside of the knee with lung function, because it's the beginning of the cycle. 1 is the prime mover. 1 connects us with the, with the divine, and also connects us here, brings us down to earth. And in a sense, Aries is doing that as well. It's the first one, as I said, to come into being in the order of manifestation, the lung channel, saying, I am here. And I've been studying embryology, and in the first entire first trimester, a fetus, the little embryo, is literally the lesson in the first trimester is, who am I? What am I? And now we have Aries, then at birth, they're saying, I am. I am a human being. So go ahead and hold safety energy lock 1 on the inside of your knees. You can cross your hands if you want, or you can hold them on the same side. And we're going to go into the breath once again. And just keep in mind this connection between the Aries, the beginning of the zodiac, and safety energy lock 1, the beginning of, this community of safety energy locks, the prime mover. Both lung channel and safety energy lock 1 help us with new beginnings, with moving forward, with initiating. And there's a bit of a yin and a yang here with safety energy lock 1 and the lung function energy, because 1 has an affinity for helping us with our exhale. So as you are holding your 1s, you may feel your shoulders releasing a little bit more. You can invite your whole being to exhale fully. Not only your lungs and your body, but imagine exhaling from your emotional center, exhaling the swirling thoughts. And then the lung channel supports the inhaling. It's an inhaling pathway. So we have this yin and yang with the 1 in the lung channel, 1 helping all exhaling and lung helping all inhaling. And you might feel as you're holding your 1s that your inhale naturally deepens, that you're able to receive more fully this energy of regeneration, the inspiration. And just noticing that rhythm of exhale and inhale. Again, our Aries energy, our lung channel, harmonizes sadness, harmonizes grief. So as you're holding your 1s in support of your breath and support of your lung function, you might notice some waves of sadness or grief moving through, or maybe just an awareness that you're holding sadness somewhere in your body, somewhere in your heart. Invite yourself to really surrender to the breath. Allow the breath to be the harmonizer, to release the tension, the sadness, to carry it away with every exhale. And then with each inhale, to fill yourself up. Let the breath bring the healing, the cleansing, the renewal. All right, and then let's go ahead and move to the 13s. You can cross your hands or hold same side. So 13 is about 3.5 inches down from the collarbone in the chest. And I'll continue to talk a bit about these. So 13 literally, is in the area of the lungs. And this is one I spoke about in the trinity of bust line, waistline, hip line. 13s are in the bust line. They support our awareness. They work with our heart, with our emotional selves, our emotional state. And when 13s are happy, we are in a creative state of being. We're able to use our imaginations. We're able to exhale and let go of those heavy emotional burdens or hurts that we might be carrying on our chest, in our lungs. The thymus gland is underneath the center 13, under the sternum, which supports the immune system. So as we harmonize, as we balance, as we bring balance into our hearts, we strengthen the immune system. And our lung channel, Aries, is a chest flow. It, moves through the chest, through this heart center. And just notice whatever's occurring beneath your hands and fingertips here with the 13s, which are so important for our breath, for our lung function, for emotional, spiritual balance. And then we're going to go ahead and move down to safety energy lock 14. It's at the bottom of the rib cage on either side. I like to cross and just give myself a hug. And when I'm holding 14, sometimes I go all the way up here next to the solar plexus. It's really a wide area. Each of the safety energy locks has a 3-inch radius. And if they're really full, they might, move even further. So holding 14. 14s help open the diaphragm, which will support the lung function. When diaphragm gets tight, it's harder to breathe, harder to exhale. And 14s live in the waistline of this trinity of bust, waist, hip. Waistline addresses our digestive and mental need, the mind, the thinking. It's a lot about metabolizing, digesting not only our food, but our thoughts, digesting the emotions, digesting the environment, digesting what we heard in the news. And balance in thinking is probably one of the most needed things on the planet right now. When the waistline is clear, when 14s are open, we're literally a bridge. 14s are where the humans live. We're a bridge between heaven up in the bust line and earth in the hip line. So let's go ahead and invite in that balanced thinking as we hold our 14s. Naturally harmonizing the digestion. And you might find that as the thoughts calm down and come into balance, the breath naturally slows down, deepens. And if you like, you could move your left fingertips to the right 19 at the bend of the arm. This is another wonderful way to open up the 14s and the waistline. And 19 is also about balance, equilibrium. So keeping right fingertips on the left 14, left fingertips, I might have said it backward, on the right 19. And again, we have the balance, the yin and the yang of when we're opening up the diaphragm, it's helping us to exhale, which will then support all inhaling, will support our lung channel so we can inhale and receive life, receive the inspiration more fully, more deeply, receive new thoughts. And then go ahead and switch to bring your right fingertips to your left 19 on the bend of the arm, and then move left fingertips back to the right 14. This is also a wonderful hold for helping you to stand in your own power. All right, so that's another form of balance, to be balanced in yourself rather than, tipping forward, whatever, letting yourself be pulled by others or giving power away to others. To hold your own center, to trust yourself. To have the confidence to express yourself, even if others disagree or have a different point of view. That's why we're all here. We each bring our own unique perspective. And a few more exhales and inhales here. Harmonizing our thinking, inviting that balance into our minds. And then go ahead and move hands down to safety energy lock 15, which are on in the groin between hip bone and pubic bone on either side. 15 is joy and laughter, the harmonizer, replenisher of the physical body. The whole hip line is about a physical body need when we've been running around, pushing ourselves, going. This brings us back to balance, tending to the wear and the tear. And when 15s are open and happy, we're able to exhale and laugh, and that certainly expands the breath. And go ahead and just bring awareness into your hands and fingertips, and going back to what I spoke of earlier on about the left and right supervisor, just notice the similarities or differences between the left and right side. And there's no need to fix anything or change anything. JIN SHIN JYUTSU is, a lot of it is the art of observing, of bringing in that compassionate witness to ourselves, bringing in awareness, noticing what is. All right, and then let's finish with a quick supervisor quickie. We'll just bring the right fingertips to the top of the left shoulder. So this is one of my favorite quickies for supervisor. So just 11 and same side 15. And if you are feeling, more aches and pains, tension on one side, this is just a simple, wonderful quickie to bring in that balance, to work with whichever side. You could work with both sides to tend to those yin and yang qualities within yourself. And whenever we're working with the 11s at the top of the shoulder, we're supporting the large intestine channel, which is lungs partner. That's lungs special friend. And when we open up the 11s, we can breathe more fully and we can digest more easily and we have clearer thinking. And then go ahead, switch sides, left fingertips to the right 11, right fingertips back to the right 15. Tending to the right supervisor, the yin, the feminine, your intuitive, creative self. I'm just going to go ahead and pull back up this yin yang so we can all have this in our mind. If you want, you can just put your hands over your heart, over your lungs for a couple breaths, letting the self-help session integrate, letting this idea of balance, of breath, of the I am, of vitality settle into each and every one of your cells.
And Jenny?
Yep,
Can
are
you
we
hear me?
at time?
Oh, no, well,
Hmm.
I always add 15 minutes on. I was just going to
Okay.
suggest this is a good opportunity while everyone's holding their chest area, where their lungs and heart are, obviously. Observe what message you're telling yourself. Jenny quite wisely talked about the I amness of Aries, and this is a great way to connect through to your heart and lung and say, I am what I am, or I am confident, or I am emotionally balanced, because remembering the breath helps us balance all our emotions. So maybe we can take a couple of minutes here just to notice what is the message in you after this beautiful experience that Jenny has facilitated. I mean, I feel remarkably balanced, actually. But just as a suggestion for the message of your lungs, your heart, your second depth, your chest, your areas, what are you feeling now? What are you thinking now? And then just breathe that in. Breathe that into your lungs. Okay, when you're ready, Jenny.
All right. Oh, that was wonderful. I think I have to say, I think my heater went back on. I hear something loud. It sounds like
Your what? Your heater.
the heater. Yeah, the heater's been out in this building.
There you go.
There's,
Energy shifting, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
during the last.
That was truly a wonderful presentation, and I really felt how you've embodied that energy, and it was just beautiful. So thank you for that. Folks, I've known Jenny a fair few years. I mean, she has a wonderful way of just threading things together, and that's why I was happy that she agreed to come on again. And I hope she comes on again and again. I loved how you wove us experiencing the lung stroke large intestine meridian there. And just a quickie, folks, one of the things that I always remember that Mary B said that I didn't fully understand until Jill Pasquinelli said it once, when she said the thumb was the leader of the band, if you or the orchestra, if you held your thumb, all the other energy fields that are enhanced and balanced through the fingers will fall into place. It's mainly because of that lung connection, because the spirit, mind, body. So areas at the beginning, prime mover, and number one can be facilitated through the thumb. It was perfect, Jenny. Hold your ones, get the lungs unburdened, supported, energized. Yeah, brilliant. So
Right. Hold your ones and your thumbs, right?
yes. Yeah, yes. And
Thumbs without both.
yeah, exactly. And I think there were some questions in the chat for you. Let's have a look. I think you answered one of them.
I've lost my reading glasses.
Oh, yeah.
My
All
chair
right.
somewhere they are.
I think it was about balance. I'm always physically tilting to the left. How can I balance that with JIN SHIN? Is there a SEL that would help? Well, I'm not going to. Over to you.
Well, I would work with that left supervisor. I would do 11:15 and then 11:25. When you're tilting to the left, there's probably tension that's tilting you, pulling. And you could work with both sides. You also, I would suggest checking your 6, which is on the sole of the foot. The medial side sole of the foot. The 6 reflects the back. And when the tension in the back that's pulling, the 6 will often be very tight.
Yeah, now the 6 on the left side and even I'm watching now, my head's tilting to the left. And sometimes my whole body is on the left arm of the chair and I'm like, what is wrong? But should I check the 6 on the left side, the side that's bothersome?
Check them both and find out. I mean, it's your body. So check both your 11s and see which one's tighter. Go to where you feel the most tension. But check both your 6s. And a wonderful quickie for 6 is just 6 with same side 15 in the groin.
Thank you.
Anything you wanted to add, Terry?
Well, I mean, going back to the 6, you have the mediator self-help. You can always, open your lungs with that mudra, anchor on the 11-3, and bring the ones together with your knees, or put the right 6 on the left knee, and that the mediator brings left and right supervisor into balance. It could be a kidney thing, which, there's a crossover with the kidney pattern, which feeds into the ear, and sometimes there's an imbalance. And then we move our head. So you might want to release the 12s of the kidney that might be really tight. Things like that. And hold your fingers and move the way through. Have you got any spinal issues going on, scoliosis or anything like that?
I do. So I was just trying to, I can't remember if it goes to the right or the left.
Okay, well, if it goes to the right, if I'm understanding this, the spine moving to the right, you want to pull it back to center. You might need to, you can go directly to the right and work on it, but some would say you could go to the left to pull it back. Do both. I think I
Right.
heard Philomena say go to the right, and I think I heard somebody else say go to the left. So you know, it's up to you. Experience it. Be your own testimony. See a practitioner if you've got something like scoliosis for sure, and they can probably give you second method correction of 15 flow, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Your body will tell you like where the tension is. That's why it's good to check those 6s and 11s. It will show you where the tension is and just hold it.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how you don't notice it, and then all of a sudden I'm leaned almost all the way over to the left, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I used to mouse. I worked with a physical therapist. When I was mousing, I used my shoulder instead of my wrist. So I was always trying to mouse, pushing my shoulder out. And it's amazing as you were talking about the way we're sitting or leaning. And that has like such an impact, but we don't even realize we're doing it until someone notices or we notice.
Right. It has a
It's
huge impact. Left side is also the past.
Yeah.
And so left side, it's our past, our whole life before now, but also our ancestors. So I see a lot of patterns showing up on the left. And there might be something pulling, that's got a hold of you from the past.
That's funny. I'm hitting brick walls working on ancestry.com. And I do
There you
feel
go.
pulled. Like they're trying to find me. I dream they're telling me you have the key to unlock this, and so I've been working in that, and that's funny because last night that's the way I was leaning, everything to the left, all the piles are on the left-hand side. So I'll have to just at some point after I research, just, send them a kiss and say, okay, now I got to be in the future or the present, not the future.
Right. And after you said that, so when you go through and just work with your left fingers, and what I do is when I'm working with my left side, literally, I just imagine that harmonizing. I mean, because it's going backwards. We can harmonize the past and the future with this. So you can
Yeah.
send that harmonizing to your ancestors.
All right. Well, unless there's any really critical questions, I'm going to bring the recording to an end, says he.